Chapter 1, Section 6, we are looking at midpoint and distance in the coordinate plane. And midpoint is the point in the middle. So you add your x's and divide by 2, add your y's and divide by 2. And distance formula is the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So first thing, we need to find the coordinates of the midpoint with the following endpoints. And notice in this case we were given both of the endpoints. So we will do -8 plus -2 over 2 and 3 plus 7 over 2. Now if you're doing this on a graphing calculator, you need to do -8 plus -2 equals, you have to hit equals and then divide by 2. So our first, the x coordinate would be -5, and the second one, 3 plus 7 equals, and then divide by 2, and that will be a 5. Letter B, -2 plus 5 over 2, and 3 plus -3 over 2. And you can do these without graphing calculators or any calculator. -2 plus 5 is 3. So you would write that as 3 over 2. -3 plus 3 is 0. I would accept that, or 1.5, 0, or 3/2, 0. Letter C, we will do 0 plus 6 over 2, and 5 plus 7 over 2. 0 plus 6 equals 6. Divided by 2 is 3. And 5 plus 7 equals 12. Divided by 2 is 6. Letter D, we will have 1 plus 9 over 2. -4 plus 3 over 2. 1 plus 9 is 10. Divided by 2 is 5. -4 plus 3 is -1. And we will leave that as -1/2. Now these next questions you can either do algebraically, writing an equation, or you can draw a picture. So the first three I'm going to do algebraically. M is the midpoint of xy. So this is the point in the middle. So we will have 2 plus x over 2, and that equals 6, because this is the point in the middle. And then you would have 7 plus y over 2 equals 1. Now solving this, you would cross multiply. So 2 plus x equals 12. And when you subtract 2 from both sides, your x then equals 10. And cross multiplying here, you would have 7 plus y equals 2. Subtract 7 from both sides, and you have y equals -5. And then you would write those two in an ordered pair. Letter B, S is the midpoint of RT. So this is the midpoint. So -6 plus some number that we don't know divided by 2 equals -1. And for the y's, -1 plus some number divided by 2 equals 1. Cross multiplying, you have negative 6 plus x equals negative 2. Adding 6 to both sides, sorry, I'm running out of room here, x equals 4. Cross multiplying here, negative 1 plus y equals 2. Adding 1 to both sides, y equals 3. So we have the ordered pair 4, 3. And try to set up letter C on your own a minute. M is the midpoint of RT, so we will do negative 1 plus some number divided by 2 equals negative 5. And 5 plus some number divided by 2 equals 2. Cross multiplying, negative 1 plus x equals negative 10. Adding 1 to both sides, x equals negative 9. Cross multiplying here, 5 plus y equals 4. Subtracting 5 from both sides, y equals negative 1. And so we end up with our ordered pair of negative 9, negative 1. And the other way to do this, if you don't like that algebra way, you can kind of draw a picture here. M is the midpoint of AB. So A is right here, negative 220. And I'm going to put the x on the top and the y on the bottom. And M is right here in the middle at 2, 9. So let's kind of reason this out. You're at negative 2, and you want to be at 2, so you've gone up 4 spaces. Since this is the midpoint, they have to be exactly the same. So adding 4 right here, adding 4 here, you have to be at 6. To get from 20 to 9, you subtract 11. Here, you subtract 11. So you are at negative 2. So 6, negative 2. Letter E, M is the midpoint of AB. So A right here is 6, 0. M is here at negative 3, 2. So if you started at 6 and ended up at negative 3, you went down 9. And you have to do the same thing on the other side. If you're at negative 3 and you go down 9, you are at negative 12. And for our y coordinate, from 0 to 2, you went up 2. So here you would go up 2, which would be 4. And you would be at negative 12, 4. Letter F, M is the midpoint of AB. M is right here in the middle. B is negative 1, 5. And M is 7, 1. Well, from negative 1 to 7, you went up 8. So here, if you go up 8, you would be at 15. From 5 to 1, you went down 4. 1, if you go down 4, you are at negative 3. So your ordered pair would be 15, negative 3. And our second page of notes here, we are using the distance formula, and you will need to know the distance formula. X minus x squared plus y minus y squared, and it's a good idea to write that at the top of your paper. And then it's a good idea to show some work on this so you can get partial credit. Doesn't matter which x or y you start with here. 3 minus a negative 2 squared, 4 minus 5 squared. Zip zapping that, 3 plus 2 is 5 squared. 4 minus 5 is negative 1 squared. 5 squared is 25. Negative 1 squared is 1. So you end up with the square root of 26. And you can leave it that way, or you can do the square root if you would like to. And on a graphing calculator, you do second square root and then 26. So you can call that either square root of 26 or 5.1. Letter B, and sometimes I just kind of set up this framework. 3 minus negative 3 and 2 minus a negative 1. 3 minus a negative 3 is 6 squared. 2 minus a negative 1 is 3 squared. And that becomes 36 plus 9, which is the square root of 45. You can write it as a decimal if you want. I'm going to leave it just like that. Example 4. Now we need to get points off the coordinate graph. This F is the ordered pair 1, 2. G is the ordered pair 5, 5. And again, sometimes I do this framework. And I'm going to start with these higher numbers. 5 minus 1 squared, 5 minus 2 squared, 5 minus 1, 5 minus 2. So that will be 4 squared plus 3 squared, which is 16 plus 9, which is the square root of 25, which is 5. And I know it's kind of a pain to show that work, but the more work you show, the better off you're going to be. JK, this will be negative 4, 0, and this will be negative 1, negative 4. So when we put these numbers in our framework, you will have negative 4 minus a negative 1 and negative 4 minus 0. Zip zapping that will be negative 3 squared and negative 4 squared. Make sure you put parentheses around that in your graphing calculator. 9 plus 16 equals the square root of 25, which is 5. Those both equal 5. So yes, those two are congruent. EF, E is negative 2, 1. F is negative 5, 5. So I am going to do negative 5 minus negative 2 and then 5 minus 1. Zip zapping that, you have negative 3 squared and 4 squared. Make sure you put parentheses around that. That will be 9 plus 16, which is the square root of 25, which is 5. So that one is also congruent. And GH, this will be negative 1. G will be negative 1, negative 2. H will be 3, 1. So negative 1 minus 3 squared, negative 2 minus 1 squared. So this will be a negative 4 squared, negative 3 squared, which will be 16 plus 9, which is the square root of 25, which is 5. So all of those are congruent.